From which place?
Sir, I'm from Tumkur, SSIT.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, you are interested in quantum?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. I just saw. I could not attend the meeting yesterday, but somehow I missed it, so I just joined.
Yeah, very nice to hear from you because yesterday was a great day. In fact, whatever you require, you are also working on. You are a faculty there.
Yeah, sir. I'm faculty in SSIT.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. I think you can start recording now. Recording started now.
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
yes, sir.
It's
Yes.
started.
Started,
You
sir.
can start. Yeah, we'll discuss. Let us have good discussion. The anyhow, it has started. You belong to which department, Sharda Gupta?
Sir, ENC, EC,
Very nice, very
Electronics
nice.
and Communication.
Yeah, you are. I mean, you are interested in this subject, quantum communication, quantum
Yes,
computing.
sir. Actually, I was searching about the papers on reversible logic exactly.
Okay, yeah.
So I somewhere saw that reversible logic somewhere related to this. If we go in depth to that, so wanted to know the things about these things.
Yeah, yesterday he told about Vijay Kumar told about reversible logic. Okay,
Oh,
and
oh.
all the gates which we use are reversible
Uh,
in quantum.
uh, uh,
Vijay Kumar yesterday he
Yes,
told no.
sir. Yes, sir.
So reversible logic
That is one
and
of the property of quantum gates, sir.
yeah,
okay.
All quantum gates obey
Ah,
the
reversible.
reversible property, sir.
Okay, okay.
okay. And one more thing, what I would like to tell at this point of time is the concept of quantum is really required at really today because in the days to come, the whole universe, what we are relying on nano, when the term nano comes, yesterday we were discussing about it, you need to go for quantum physics rather than classical. Classical does not explain all those things. So it is right time that Sharda and other persons really grab this opportunity and to become excel in this field. Especially, I'm telling my students and my fellow colleagues also to be a part of quantum. So whatever may be the thing. For example, I'm telling you, even I tell you like what is that I would like to tell in the future to come. Someone may be interested in machine learning and artificial intelligence, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I think for that also quantum concept is needed nowadays. So for each and everything. So that's the reason why I tell my students this quantum or what is a quantum may be a part of photonics if you use photon, or if you use electron, it may be electronics combined with quantum mechanics. But normally we being a photonics people, we use quantum this one. And I think Professor Sharda will be in touch with us. Okay, you have any IEEE branch in your SIT? Tumkur?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Sir, I am from SSIT, not from SIT. Sri
Oh, yes.
Siddhartha Institute of
Yeah,
Technology.
SSIT. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Shiv Kumar is from that place, no? Dr. Shiv Kumar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
He's in telecom. I am from EC, sir.
yeah, okay. I had visited your institute many times, and
Oh,
the
okay,
principal,
okay.
no, your principal, Dr. Ravi Prakash, he is from my college only, and also I know Dr. Kurian also.
Oh, okay,
Many
sir.
people.
Okay. Um,
Yeah, usually.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
working under Korean, sir.
Oh, you are working under Korean for PhD, is it?
Yes, sir. No, no, not for PhD. He is our branch HOD, no? So like
Yeah.
that I'm working. He is a registrar of our university too.
Yeah, I know him very well. Look, where would you like to register your this one?
Sir, I have registered under SAHE itself. My guide is Ishwarappa, sir. Dr. M.N. Ishwarappa.
From which institute?
Sir, he is from our institute itself. I mean,
Okay.
our college, our department.
Okay. So now you would like to continue in this field, no? So in
Yes, sir.
quant, yeah, okay. So surely we'll be there. We'll be there to help you out because I am in the doctoral committee of some of the students of your institute. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Uh, and also you have to do a lot of groundwork. Yesterday, Dr. Ajay Ghatak came from IIT Delhi.
Oh,
He is a very big person in the field. And
okay.
also Dr. Shiv Prakash from IAC, and few could not able to what you call venture into this teams because
Session.
of technical problem. So now I
Oh,
think today absolutely there is no problem at all. Mm, I think another 3 minutes left. Professor Sharda, if you have any question regarding quantum, we are ready to take up your question before the session starts, because what you require really.
Yeah, sir. Actually, I was searching and I had referred the papers on reversible logic, like
Yes.
reversible gates, how exactly the applications of reversible logic in various fields. Basically, reversible logic is meant for achieving low power, as per I have studied.
Yes, yes. Continue.
But
Continue.
many papers, whenever we have searched, it is like using Verilog only. It has been done.
Yeah.
But how exactly it will be able to achieve low power, and how exactly if we go for it, they'll show like quantum representation of few reversible logic gates and all. So
Yeah.
what is exactly that quantum representation? How exactly logic gates will be related to that? Just wanted to know those basics, sir, so that it would be help me. It would helpful for me to whenever I read papers to understand the concepts. It will be helpful for me.
Very nice, very nice. Because I will definitely answer to your question and queries, sir.
Okay.
I think Vijay Kumar, you are also hearing me. If there is anything you
Yes,
can
sir.
ask.
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you, sir.
Yeah, what I tell you, there are many gates in quantum. Okay, like X gate, Y gate, Z gate, phase shift gate, Hammond gate, like that. There are many gates, and you can apply one gate after the other. You can apply first X gate, and next immediately you can get Y gate, or X gate and X gate continuously. Sometimes, if you look at it, you can get inversion also if you apply two gates simultaneously together. Thus, if the same input is persisting, it can be inverter like that. And it all depends on the representation. And in quantum, there is no concept like basic bits like zeros and ones. So we deal only with what is that? Qubits. Qubits means quantum bits. There is a lot of difference between a quantum bit and a classical bit. That's what actually yesterday Vijay Kumar has explored and explained many things about. Very nice representation. Of course, you can. I think he will be uploading it on the YouTube. You can see his talk on that.
Okay, sir. So
And
please share us the link.
yeah, definitely in a days to come, every day, day 1, day 2, day 3, and day 3, he will be dealing with simulation part of it.
Oh, okay.
So now with that one, I think today, I think Dr. Ajay Katak is trying to enter, but there may be a problem. Anyhow, it's 6 o'clock. So with the permission of the today's speaker, Mr. Vijay Kumar, because some new persons are coming today, I would like to share some 4 to 5 slides. Okay.
Yes, sir. You can
Regarding
share.
quantum, and then immediately as soon as that one Professor Vijay will take on from my side, from this side. So just I would like to upload one. I think 4 to 5 slides are just introduction, because yesterday somebody told he has done introduction, but I will give some more introduction about it. I think I have to browse 1 second. Okay, upload from my computer. So today I would like to give some insight into quantum. It's just an introduction. Then later on, okay, fine. I just upload it. Yeah, I think if it is okay. Right, I think I'll start the session and then I'll hand over it to Professor Vijay Kumar. I think for past 6 months he's extensively working in this field of quantum. Yeah. Is it coming now? So you will see Professor Sharda will get the answer for reversible logic. I think after yesterday's. Vijay Kumar, am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, I think it is your this one has come.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
this is
This
not
might
mine.
be.
Probably, whatever. I think I have to open. No, close it. Once again, I have to share, browse. Where exactly I've kept my presentation? You have given upload from my computer. Yeah, I think this may be mine. Okay. So I got not very, I mean, I have got few slides, of course, but for this I have made only 4 to 5 slides because it is an elementary thing. Is it right? Regarding quantum communication. Yeah, in that one, I'm just going to tell you something about what is till qubit. I'll go, but he has already done that qubit concept and everything. So because yesterday there was some problem with the technical problem, that's why I will take a few minutes, and then afterwards I think he will take. I think I am done with my Odeka. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
So shall I start? Shall I start? Hello.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start the. Okay. So now to start with, basically, I would like to introduce myself. I am Dr. P.C. Srikanth, professor and former HOD of ENC Engineering, Malad College of Engineering. I basically work on photonics from past more than 1.5 decades, more than one, I think from 94, maybe 2 decades, more than 2 decades. I think I've been working on photonics. Now that I've done a little bit work on optical networks, then photonic band gap crystal sensors, surface plasmon resonance sensors, quantum dots, and some of my students are working on quantum communication right now, and a few of them have worked on lasers also when I joined the institute, I mean, long back. But to start with, what is quantum communication? See, yesterday Vijay Kumar told about Moore's law. The moment you go, there are two things in quantum. Just I'd like to tell you. One is macro level and micro level. So this is what actually in my slide, which I have already given in that one. So the difference between a classical physics and a quantum physics. The thing which goes in micro level, we cannot deal with what is called a classical physics. Classical physics cannot explain the thing wherein it is less than 10 to the power of minus 6 and above, especially 10 to the power of minus 9, it is a nano range. It is very hard. Your classical physics will not explain anything. We need to adapt, or we need to go in depth into quantum physics. But of course, previously we were relying on classical physics. In the classical physics, whatever we are having is a classical thing. So classical physics, exactly, I have described the macroscopic world, description of the microscopic world. So in classical physics, whatever we have done till today, really it's not a problem if you are using a classical physics. The moment you enter into quantum physics, then there are little bit quantum laws we have to learn about it, and it's not a big problem, of course. And for a beginner, he has to understand the quantum mechanics. Basically, if you are doing on communication, you should be thorough with Schrodinger wave equation. How you know that one in quantum? People tell light is particle. Some will tell light is a wave. It's a duality of a dual property or duality of a light. Of course, you know that one. Light is an electromagnetic wave. Nobody can question it. The moment the electromagnetic wave comes, you need to go for what is known as Maxwell's equation. The moment you go for Maxwell's equation, you need FDTD method to solve the Maxwell's equation. So these are all the things which we are moving into. So we are moving from classical physics to quantum physics. The reason being the miniaturization. On one single chip, every month, 18 to 24 months, number of transistors getting doubled. That is Moore's law. The more and more the transistors are accommodated in the same chip size, your scale will become 10 to the power of minus 7, minus 8, minus 9. There it is microscopic. Then maybe it may be nanoscopic. Then you go for quantum physics. Your classical physics is completely not possible. And when you go for classical, it is deterministic. and when you go for quantum, it is probabilistic. You cannot clearly tell what is happening in quantum. So I will come to it in another couple of slides. So it is completely probabilistic because we deal with probability theory, and of course we have to look into it, probability, how a qubit can act, and what is the classical bit. So classically you can say here 1 and 0 binary, but here it is, we go for ket notation that yesterday he has already done. So it is intuitive, it is not very intuitive, this one, quantum physics, okay? So many people, especially the people, the novel information processing possibility, especially if I remember, Einstein has did a lot of work on quantum physics, okay? So now coming to causality and retro causality. So what is this is very important concept here. So what is causality? A cause must precede its effects in all reference frames. A cause must precede its effects. But here it is reverse. That means effect will precede cause. So this is called retro causality, and this is what we are exploring in quantum field. So one example is Wheeler's delayed choice experiment. He has done an experiment, Wheeler's delayed choice, in which a photon of light is made to pass either through one slit or two slits. That yesterday he has done a two slit experiment and one slit experiment. Depending upon which measurement action is that is taken after the light already system, this is called retro causality. That means it is exactly opposite. So this is what is known as retro causality. So now we will go to the next slide. Here, this is most important. This is what is known as quantum entanglement and non-locality and spooky action. What Einstein at a distance, what Albert Einstein told about it. You can see here entanglement. You can see there are two photons emerging from the same source. There are two single photons. Photon 1 and photon 2 are entangled, and M1 is a measurement made on the photon 1 and M2 is a measurement made on the photon 2, M1, M2. This is simple as, very simple. Supposing say in your hand you hold two coins, okay, right, two coins. So in the left hand side I'll be having one more coin, right hand side I'll be having one more coin. If they're entangled, okay, if they're, I think you may be seeing my hands in the picture. If they are entangled, so I can move it apart like this, okay, whatever the distance. And supposing you say on the left hand, if I do the measurement and I flip the coin, if I get the tail, and if these two are entangled, the right hand side will also have a tail if it is a correct, I mean, if it is not a reverse operation. But I can do reverse operation also. So if I get a tail in the left hand, I can make sure that right hand should be a tail, okay, a head. So likewise, supposing say I don't want to do any reverse operation. So whatever I have done here, tail, if I toss the coin, I get the tail. In the right hand, the same tail will be there. So okay, this is known as entangled coins. So I'll move apart. You can see, but still I move apart. So I will move apart till light years between two coins or two particles or two photons. No matter what the distance is, whatever the experiment I am carrying on the left hand, the same thing will be on the right hand. So if I get a tail on the left hand, right hand also I am going to get a tail. So this is known as entanglement. And since it is the distance between, no matter the distance between these two, maybe more than light years, we call it as entangled particles, entangled photons, or entangled, what you call coins, or entangled anything. Then the gist of this thing is whatever the experiment is done on the left hand, coin of my left hand, the same thing will all put on the right hand. That means there is a correlation between left hand and right hand. It may be a straight process or it may be a reverse process, maybe a flip of the coin. So no matter what the distance is, that light years, he called it as spooky effect. What is he called it as spooky effect? And this is also known as teleportation. You can, in fact, incidentally, You are not moving anything from left hand to the right hand. Okay, this is what is known as teleportation. That means without physically transporting from one point to the other point. So this is known as teleportation. This is the most important concept in quantum mechanics. Entanglement, I'll just read out. I have already told, the separated but entangled parts of the same quantum system can only be described by referencing the state of the other part. That means what is the state of the first photon and the other second photon entangled. Okay, the possible outcome of the measurement on M2 depends on the results of measurement of M1 and vice versa. What all you do on the right hand side and or the left hand, so both is vice versa. The same thing will occur. If you do on the right hand, the same thing will occur on the left hand. If you do on the left hand, the same thing will occur on the right hand. If you do on the measurement of the photon 1, the same thing will be on the photon 2. If you do the measurement on photon 2, that will be same on the photon 1. This is usually a consequence of conservation of loss, conservation of momentum, angular momentum, energy. These are the most important in quantum. What is that one? Conservation of momentum, angular momentum, energy, etc., position. So this is what deals with Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, okay, position and momentum. So we deal mostly on that one in case of quantum. So non-locality, the connectedness between the separated system is called quantum. What is that? Causality that should act even the systems are parts are separated by light year. Einstein called it as spooky effect. So he coined it as a spooky effect. Okay. So now I am just I'm done with that one. So Bob and Alice are exchanging their what do you call classical bit communication, and we have got what is that quantum key distribution. Two parties, Alice and Bob, one-way communication from Alice to Bob. We want asymptotic communication between rates. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through this one. So he has got secret key. You know that one. This is known as encryption and decryption. So encryption is done in quantum level and decryption is also done in quantum keys. So if at all, if you want to open what is being sent on the classical channel, key should be provided for Alice and Bob. So you both get the keys. So these keys are most important, and this key will go on quantum cryptography. So that is we need for that one quantum. So this is classical communication and quantum communication. And this is how Ket notation that is followed in quantum, classical and quantum communication. And I think these are all the things which are not. I don't want to take too much of Vijay Kumar's time. And this is a block sphere representation. I'm just telling that one. In classical, we have got either 0 and 1, but in quantum, it is a superposition of 0 and 1. It cannot be, it is on the block sphere. Okay, he has done clearly in the yesterday. And block sphere representation, that is a linear superposition of ket 0 and ket 1. Here alpha and beta are probability function. Alpha ket 0, beta ket 1 is equal to wave function psi. So that wave function is nothing but a Schrodinger wave equation. There we need to find out many things. Okay. So with that one, so the what you call the quantum bit can assume any state. It is a probabilistic. For example, 90% ket 1, 10% ket 0, or 20% ket 0, 80% ket 1. All put together, it should be 1, like 100%. So with that one, I think if there are any doubts, we can have discussion at the end. So now I think I'll stop my presentation. I'll hand over it to Professor Vijay Kumar. He will be doing the rest of the things. He will continue, and until tomorrow he will be there, and he will even simulate. I will tell you how to do simulation, and also many things he will be telling. Okay. I think Professor Vijay can take the control over this one. So Vijay, you are most welcome.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Okay. Can you see my slides, sir? Shrikant, sir. Hello.
Visible.
Hello. Visible,
Visible.
sir.
Yeah, visible.
Okay. Okay. So today I'll be presenting few fundamental protocols of quantum communication. Contents of today's talk is what is wrong with classical cryptography. So QKD is the main way of providing secure communication between two places. So something is wrong with classical cryptography. That's why we have to discuss what is wrong with classical cryptography. How does quantum mechanics protect information? So definitely Alice and Bob's roles present in QKD. What are Alice and Bob operations in QKD will be discussed. QKD quantum key distribution. So this is most basic quantum communication protocol BB84 experimental setup and its general illustration. Why eavesdropping, that is hacking, is impossible in case of quantum communication, and we'll discuss security of BB84 protocol, that is QKD protocol. Why you should worry? Because we make so many online transactions. Someone hack our security key. He definitely makes some financial transactions and making heavy losses to us. So in order to avoid this, we should be our security should be without any compromisation. So things like credit card purchase, online banking, and defense communication, these are vulnerable to the hackers, all at risk of being compromised with the quantum computers. So now quantum computers not commercially available, but once they are commercially available, classical cryptography can be easily hackable using quantum computer. All information communicated through classical cryptography now can be easily compromised with the quantum computers. We need to take steps now in order to prevent this catastrophe. Definitely in future it will happen if we not take necessary steps in order to avoid these catastrophes in future. Okay, the solution to this is obviously quantum cryptography. We have to move from classical cryptography to quantum cryptography to avoid security risks. What is wrong with classical cryptography? The problem is that unconditional security is not possible in case of classical cryptography. Classical cryptography works on some protocols like RSA protocol. This protocol is based on mathematical complexity of factoring large numbers. So in RSA protocol, they take one large number and they find the factors of that number used to generate security key. But quantum algorithms like Shor's algorithm using quantum gates that can perform factorization in polynomial time, that takes only less time to find out the factor of any large number. If you use the Shor's algorithm, that it can easily hack the classical cryptographic security key. Quantum communication relies on physical properties of photons rather than mathematical complexities used in classical cryptography. But if you use the quantum cryptography, it uses the physical properties of photons. It is highly impossible to measure the photons polarization, because yesterday we discussed we measure the polarization or any qubit information, it collapses at the end. You will not able to read the what we have sent from Alice to Bob. So that's why it is impossible to hack the uh, quantum cryptographic information. So this shows the present classical cryptographic uh, RSA algorithm. If it uses 80-bit symmetric key and 1024-bit key length, it is breakable between 2006 to 2010. If it uses 112-bit symmetric key length and 2048-bit RSA key length, it can provide security till 2030. If it uses 256-bit symmetric keylen, security is beyond 2030. But if you use the quantum computer, these can be breakable. This is the statement by Microsoft research team. The RSA 2048 challenge problem would take 1 billion year with a classical computer, but if you use the quantum computer, it could take only 100 seconds to break the security key. So that's why we have to move from classical cryptography to quantum cryptography. Computational resources grow very fast, and today's hard problem could be solved tomorrow using brute force attack. Definitely, when the technology progresses, new algorithms comes into the picture. Those algorithms can be used to hack present classical cryptographic algorithm security key. Realization of quantum computers, my security should be independent of future advancements in computational power, new algorithm, that is, it should be future secure. This brings the need for quantum cryptography, where security is based on laws of nature, that is, laws of physics, rather than mathematical complexity of a problem. Most important part is the key distribution, that is, quantum key distribution. In QKD, we only share the key between Alice and Bob. Alice means Alice is a transmitter in classical sense. Bob is a receiver. We have to share only the key between transmitter and receiver. Rest of the things is transmitted through the classical channel. How does quantum mechanics protect information? The idea can be summarized as follows. Measurement disturbs the signal on an average. If I measure the quantum signal, it definitely disturbs and it altogether alters the state of any qubit that is easily detectable at the receiving end, that is at the Bob's end. If the signals are non-orthogonal, adversary cannot ascertain which one it is. That is uncertainty principle. Uncertainty principle states that if we measure the position of a quantum particle or any particle precisely, we will end up with measuring its momentum less precisely and vice versa. It is impossible to measure the uh, momentum and position of a particle precisely at the same time. So that is guaranteed by uncertainty principle. Security is guaranteed. Unknown quantum states cannot be cloned by adversary. No cloning theorem. Just like in classical computers, we can easily copy the bit 0 or bit 1, but in case of quantum states cannot be copied. That is no cloning theorem. We cannot perfectly copy the one quantum state, one qubit state to another qubit perfectly. Quantum correlations can be used to protect the information, like quantum entanglement can be used to protect information from the receiver to transmitter to receiver. So definitely in QKD, uh, we have Alice and Bob. Here I have listed Alice operations. Alice prepares single photon. This is very most important. In classical communication, we need a bundle of photons to transmit bit 1. Absence of photons means bit 0, but in case of quantum communication, we need only single photon. So that is very difficult to generate single photon. Different types of sources, including weak coherent pulsed source or spontaneous parameter down conversion, SPDC, can be used to generate single photon. That is very essential for QKD. And the next thing is what Alice does, random selection of polarization basis for each photon between rectilinear and diagonal basis. Alice has to choose between rectilinear and diagonal basis to transmit the either bit 0 or bit 1. Next, random selection of polarization between two orthogonal states in each basis. In each basis contains, if you take rectilinear basis, it has horizontal polarization and vertical polarization. If it chooses diagonal basis, it has 45-degree polarization and 135-degree polarization. And also she records time sampling and polarization state for each photon. At the receiving end, what Bobs does, These are simple steps. Random selection of polarization basis for each photon between the rectilinear and diagonal. Alice also select the basis on random basis. Bob also select basis on random basis. There is no correlation between uh, basis selection of Alice and Bob. Measure at the Bob side, measure each photon in the selected basis. Record time stamping and polarization state for detected photons. So this is what Bob does at the receiving end. Alice and Bob operation. These operations done through quantum channel. This done through Alice and Bob operation after transmitting photons through quantum channel. They share the basis through classical channel. They send stamping and basis selection for each photon over classical channel. They compare selected basis for correlated events. Consider only those events where basis choice match and discard the rest. So this is what I said, rectilinear and diagonal basis. These are the two bases. Alice and Bob has to choose between these two bases. If he choose rectilinear basis, he has two options. Uh, Alice Bob has two options. One is horizontal polarization, that is 0 degree. Another one is vertical polarized photon, that is 90 degree. If we or she chooses diagonal basis, he might send a for 0 bit. She will send 45-degree polarized photon. For bit 1, she will send 135-degree polarized photon. This is how QKD works. Only key is being shared between two parties through quantum channel. Rest of the things, encryption, decryption, everything works uh, on classical channel. So this is the experimental setup of BB84 protocol, QKD protocol. It is general illustration. As I told, this is Alice side, this is Bob side. Alice has to choose the basis randomly among between rectilinear or diagonal. So here we have single photon source. Now Alice chosen rectilinear basis based on which bit is to be transmitted. Alice prepares single photon. Now Alice wants to transmit bit 0. The basis selected for transmission is rectilinear. Now she has to send horizontally polarized photon through quantum channel. So now she prepares horizontally polarized photon and sends through the quantum channel. At the Bob end, Bob select the basis between rectilinear or diagonal randomly. There is no correlation between Alice and Bob. He chooses randomly uh, any basis. So now Bob has chosen diagonal basis. Now he wants to measure the received photon polarization using diagonal basis. He may end up with measuring bit 0 or bit 1. But the received photon polarization is horizontal polarization. Bob only compares with the diagonal basis polarization states plus 45-degree or 135-degree, but these do not match each other. That's why you will end up with either measuring 0 or 1. Now Bob end up with measuring 1, even though Alice uh, transmitted bit 0, but Bob measures bit as a bit 1. Anyhow, these bits are discarded at the end because uh, there is no perfect match between bases selected um, between Alice and Bob. So next bit to be transmitted, now Alice chooses randomly diagonal basis, bit to be transmitted is 0. For diagonal basis and for bit 0, Alice has to send plus 45-degree polarized photon. Now she sends the plus 45-degree polarized photon. At the Bob's end, he randomly select the basis. So now he has selected rectilinear basis. Now also basis is selected basis of Bob is different from Alice. He ends up with some measurement. Now he end up with bit 0. Measured bit is 0. For third bit, Alice selected rectilinear basis. These are all random things. Bit to be transmitted is 1. So now she prepares vertically polarized photon and sends through the quantum channel. At the Bob's end, now he has selected rectilinear basis. Obviously, the bit is measured is same as what Alice sent. Here bases are same. Measurement also ends with correct measurement. Now for fourth bit, Alice selected rectilinear basis and bit to be selected transmitted is 1. Now she sends vertically polarized photon through quantum channel. Alice at the receiving, sorry, Bob's at the receiving end randomly selected diagonal basis. Now bases are different. He may end up with either 0 or 1. Always a probability of 50% if they are different bases. For fifth bit, Alice selected the diagonal basis. For bit 1, she has to send 135 degree polarized photon. Bob side, he has selected same randomly selected same basis, decoded or measured bit 1. So now for sixth bit, diagonal basis for bit 0, 45 degree polarized photon sent through the quantum channel. At the Bob's end is selected different basis randomly. Now he measured bit 1. So this is what quantum channel works in QKD. So now Alice and Bob share the only basis what they choose on basis. For example, for in this example, Alice chosen RDR DD basis, and Bob chosen DR or DDR basis. They only share the basis through classical channel. They would not share any bit information bit transmitted from Alice to Bob through classical channel. So that's why it is impossible to yak the information by using classical channel information, because through classical channel the only base is shared, not bit. So now Alice and Bob both compare their bases. If their bases matches with each other, they keep the bit. If their basis does not match, then they discard them. So for first bit, Alice basis is rectilinear and Bob's basis is diagonal. These bases do not match each other. That's why this bit is discarded. So for second bit, also their bases do not match each other. So that bit also discarded. Third bit, both have rectilinear basis. This bit is accepted for as a security key. Fourth bit also does not match rectilinear diagonal. This is discarded. Fifth bit is both are diagonal. This is accepted. Sixth bit is discarded. So now security key is being exchanged from Alice to Bob is 1 1 1 1. This is the key I exchanged between Alice and Bob. Suppose your eavesdropper have chance of hacking the information through classical channel as well as quantum channel. So hacking information through quantum channel is highly impossible. This is secured with laws of nature, that is physical laws. If someone wants to measure polarization of any photon, that photon polarization is altogether changed. So yesterday we discussed if someone measures the any qubit, it collapses. So that's why it is highly impossible to hack the quantum channel. Anyhow, if some someone hacks the classical channel, you only get the basis, not the bit. So this is how Alice and Bob's chooses different or same basis, you end up with whether same measurement or different measurement. Suppose if Alice and Bob's chooses same basis. In first case, Alice wants to send bit 1 by choosing rectilinear basis. If the Bob chooses the same basis, so that is rectilinear basis, he compared with the vertically polarized photon and horizontally polarized photon. So Alice sent vertically polarized photon. If Bob's compare with the vertically polarized photon, it 100% match. Bob's end with key bit 1, so that is 100% correct. So obviously these do not match each other. Bob's measurements ends with 0% for bit value 0. Suppose Bob chooses different basis. Even though Alice send same rectilinear basis bit 1, there may be chance of choosing different basis because these are random. There is no perfect agreement between Alice and Bob. She or he has to send particular basis. So now Bob chooses diagonal basis, even though Alice sent using rectilinear basis. Now Bob has to compare with the 135 135-degree polarized photon and 45-degree polarized photon. So the transmitted photon is vertically polarized. For these two photons, it does not match. Bob's may end with either one measurement or bit 0 measurement. It is that's why it is 50% measurement of bit 1 and 50% of measurement of bit 0 when Bob chooses different bases than Alice. Why eavesdropping is impossible in QKD? Let us consider without eavesdropper how Alice and Bob's transmitted, share the key between them. Alice bit to be transmitted is 0 1 1 0 1 0 0 1 is random. Sorry, a random basis is rectilinear diagonal. So these are the bases selected at the Alice side. For these bases and bit value, she has to prepare single photon and has to transmit through the quantum channel. So based on rectilinear basis and bit 0, uh, she has to transmit that horizontally polarized photon for rectilinear and bit 1 vertically polarized photon. Similarly, this is already discussed. So at the receiving end, Bobs select the basis randomly. There is no correlation between Alice and Bob's basis. He chooses diagonal, rectilinear, some random basis. Uh, he measures the polarized photon at the receiving end with the uh, received photon. For first bit, he measures bit 0 because Alice and Bob's bases are same. He end up with measuring the correct bit value. For second bit, basis is different. That's why bit value is also different. It may be same or different, but 50% of the chance it may be different. So for third bit, it is same. So similarly, after transmitting uh, basis and bit information through plus quantum channel, they share the basis through classical channel. Whenever they choose on same basis, they retain that bit. So whenever they have chosen different bases, they discard the bits. For this transmission, they have chosen 4 correct bases. They have to retain these bits by discarding rest of the bits. This is the secret key exchanged between Alice and Bob 0101. This key is also called shifted key. Now let us bring Eves into the picture. Eves is hacker. Suppose if Eves want to measure the what Alice has sent through the quantum channel. So now we have to choose the basis on random. Use this is the use receiving basis. This may not be similar to the Alice basis. This is randomly selected by use. So now we have to find out the polarization of each photon. Obviously, I am taking only one bit for how use stopping is impossible in case of QKD. So this is the third bit. Use is chosen different basis than Alice. Uh, now, if use measure bit value, Q bit value, the photon polarization may change. This can be identified at the receiving end, at the Bob's end. So I have chosen same basis for Bob's what previously taken. Now Bob measures the photon polarization. Even though uh, third bit polarization is same, basis is same, but polarization is different because use presence polarization of photon has changed. So now Bob's measurement is like 0.00111 they share the basis and they discard the rest of the basis where uh, they do not match. So now instead of measuring bit 1 here, Bob's end up with measuring bit 0. This shows that security is compromised. Someone is trying to hack the information through quantum channel. So now Bob's and Alice come to conclusion that they have to discard this security key and again they have to share the new security key. This shows the presence of eavesdropper. So although bases are same, but the received bit is different from transmitted bit. This shows the presence of use. This is why it is highly impossible to hack the information in quantum channel. This slide shows the security of BB84. How much secured BB84 QKD protocol or algorithm. Suppose Alice sent using rectilinear basis and bit 0 for use as two choices of choosing rectilinear or diagonal basis. Their probability is 50% of choosing rectilinear basis and 50% of choosing diagonal basis. If we choose a same basis, Alice have chosen, he may end up with measuring correct bit. That is, she has transmitted bit 0 and he is also end up with measuring bit 0. The chance of measuring correct bit is only 50%. If he chooses different basis than Alice basis, that is rect, diagonal basis, he has to compare with two different photons. One is 45-degree polarized photon and 135-degree polarized photon. Again, 50% of chances of 45-degree and 50% of chance of 135-degree. You may end up with measuring bit 0 or bit 1. The total probability becomes for diagonal basis, it is 25%. For rectilinear basis, 50%. If you add together, we will get 75%. If we want to hack the 1-bit information, you may end up with measuring 75% of the time correct bit information. Suppose if we want to hack the 30 bits, so their probability becomes uh, almost zero. That is, if checking key bits are 30 bits, so then probability of discovering eavesdropping is 0.99981. It is almost 1. It is highly impossible to hack the information through quantum channel. One can easily, at the Bob, easily identify the presence of Eve. So this is what I want to share with you. Thank you. Any questions? Hello, Santosh sir. Hello.
Hello.
Sir, I'm finished today's talk, sir.
Santosh
Hello.
is not. Santosh is there?
I don't.
Yeah, he's not there. Actually, he is
Yes,
the,
sir.
yeah, okay. So
Yes, sir.
I
Conclude.
tell tomorrow what have you have to tell to the
Yes, sir.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow they need to install. I think they have installed Python, and as well they have registered on IBM. I hope they got IBM ID. And one more thing they have to do in order to run the quantum circuit locally, they have to install QSKIT, sir.
Yeah.
In order to install QSKIT, they have to open Anaconda prompt. So Anaconda prompt can be searched here. So just type in search Anaconda prompt. They will get Anaconda prompt. If they have installed Python, they will get Anaconda prompt. In Anaconda prompt, I have to type pip install QSKIT and enter. I have already installed. That's why I'm getting requirement already satisfied. So this is to be done today in order to run the quantum circuit. If they have any doubt, I am ready to answer.
Okay. Any doubts from the participants? Any doubts? Hello.
I think no doubts.
Okay. If you don't have any doubts, so thank you, Professor Vijay Kumar, and thanks to the participants who have participated in this webinar. Tomorrow, definitely, you will be getting hands-on.
Yes, sir.
So I think I request all of you be there for this hands-on, and let us see how the quantum.
Yes, sir. Tomorrow, better to participate using their personal computer rather than mobile phone, because it is hands-on. They have to do along with me programming simulation.
Yeah, okay. I think all of you bring your laptop, and also before that one, whatever I tell you is, you start with what you call you install this software, whatever QSKIT,
yes, sir.
Python and Anaconda.
Python and QSKIT.
QSKIT. Okay. I think we'll have a very good session tomorrow. So I think now we'll stop. We'll leave the hang up, I think.
Yes, sir.
Thanks to Vijay Kumar and all other thanks. Now we'll hang up. I think you can hang up, Vijay Kumar. It is given to you. Okay.
Sir, you have to stop recording.
I have to stop recording.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.